Okay. You're on 10% battery. Happens to me all the time.
Hi, folks. Nick, what is it about this team to find different ways to win week in and week out? It seems like every week you guys do it in a different way.
Resiliency, playing for each other, together, not wanting to let each other down, the process that they go through, just all the things, that the mental toughness that we have. It's just a bunch of good guys, good coaches, good players. And yeah, our job, especially early in the season, is, and what I've said constantly to the team, is find a way to win, take pride in winning any way that you possibly can, work to get better throughout the week, repeat. So we got to keep getting better. I think there's no, I've said this before, like, all right, I don't know if I said this to you guys, but I think that when you come off a season like we came off last year, I think the expectation is that you're going to pick up right where you left off. Well, there's steps to this, right? There's steps for all the teams that are playing right now, and there's steps to get better. So as you're getting better, our goal is to play our best football by the end of the year. As you're getting better, find ways to win, get better, and repeat.
It seems like Drew Makuba has an knack for just being around the football. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I think I said that to you guys very early on. He's got a knack to find the football. You can see it on his college tape. Some guys have that. I think we have that at a lot of our levels of our defense. I think Jaylen Carter has that. I think Zach Bond has that. I think Cooper DeJean has that. Reed Blankenship showed to have that, and he has that. And kind of similar to last week, we sat there at halftime. There's nothing sexy about the offense protecting the football, right? But they've done so 2 weeks in a row. And I know, Jaylen had that early one that we were in the right spot to get the ball back. But then there's that level of the defense. We talked about it in there, that it's going to come down to, who takes the ball away, who protects the ball, and who takes the ball away. And we had a big one. And Drew was that. When you see interceptions in the NFL, the quarterback's not throwing the ball to that guy, obviously, right? And so it's very rare that you get just this clean pick. They happen, but a lot of them happen off those types of plays right there. With a bounce of the ball and then being in the right spot. It first starts with everyone being on the same page and being in the right spot. Then it's being able to take advantage when you get your hands on the football, and he has the ability to do that. He showed that in the preseason. He showed that in all through the all through training camp. He showed that at Clemson. He showed that at Texas, and he's got an ability to do that. It's a great quality to have.
Tush was key for you in this game, as it has in the past. Why did it work? And this game in particular.
We work our butt. Yeah, we work our butts off on it. First of all, it's all about the guys, right? It's all about the guys up front, the tight ends, Jaylen, the timing of everything. I obviously won't get into all the things that we do to prepare for it, but, it's not an easy play to practice, but our guys do a great job of simulating it as much as we possibly can. During practice, during walkthroughs, different things like that. Creativity by our coaches to find ways to do that. As you can see, teams are going to do everything they can possibly do to stop it. So you can see, some of the things. I won't get into that either. I don't want to give any other teams a clue to what they were doing, but and we're prepared for all those things, and the guys are prepared for all those things. But I think it always comes down to those guys up front, and Jaylen. Have had a lot of success with that play, and we'll continue to use it to our advantage.
It looks like the Chiefs were complaining that a couple of times that the guards were going early. I probably get that from every team, but how close is that, and how good do you guys have to be at the timing part?
Yeah, we got to be very good at it because, again, like I said, teams are, I would argue that they were in the neutral zone a lot, and taking every inch that they had. They called the first one to back them up. I didn't think they necessarily backed up, but it is what it is. And they're going to do other things to try to stop that with, the way, again, don't want to get too much into it, but they're doing everything they can do. So it's a little bit, there's a little bit of gamesmanship on both sides with that. We know, though, that we have to be perfect with it, with how we come off the football, timing it up, all those different things. Because again, we know we have to be perfect with it. We got to get better at that portion of it, of being perfect with it. And I haven't seen the tape on it obviously yet of what what they're saying, but yeah, listen, I fuss at the referees at times when I think it goes one way, and I would expect them to do the exact same thing. So yeah, it's just a good effort because when you're running that play, everyone knows you're running that play. So there's something pretty cool about being able to execute a play when you know exactly what's coming, and it just speaks to the volumes of our guys. And that's a heck of a football team with a great defensive line. I can't tell you how much respect I got for that defensive line, that defense, Spags, Chris Jones, McDuffie, all the Bolton, all those guys. You can see why they've won so many games this past however many years.
Nick, the big pass from Jaylen to Devontae at the end of the game. What was your angle of it? What do you think of the play? But also, what's it say about Jaylen and Devontae? They can make that play in that spot after the offense passing wise probably wasn't super crisp.
Yeah. Again, you see those in practice, and you see them in the past of our games played, and it gives you confidence to be able to do that. I think Jalen Hurts is one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. I think he's shown that. I don't think people talk about that enough. Go back to last year and all those fourth downs that went vertical, whether that was in the Browns game in a 4-minute or whether that was in a Giants game on a fourth down or the Super Bowl on a fourth down that ended up coming back. Like, there's all this nitpicking on Jalen, but no one talks about that. Like, he's unbelievable at throwing the deep ball, which ends up helping set up other things underneath. And so it's just great connection, communication. Just that one that they have together, the receivers and Jalen. And that was a huge play in that game, and they brought some pressure. Jalen was able to stand in there, make a great play, and Devontae made a play on the football. No secret, Devontae Smith's a heck of a player. So Jalen Hurts is a heck of a player. And again, you get pumped up when you execute in a big moment. That was a big play in that game that helped us seal that game.
At the end of the first half, what was the thinking in terms of not using the timeouts?
Yeah. So you're always thinking in your head, can we score a touchdown on this drive? When we used that timeout, we had something we had to burn that timeout on a stop clock. Now you're down to 2 timeouts. If I sneak it there, I'm down to 1 timeout. We're on the 30. At that point, I'm thinking, I'm probably not getting a touchdown on this drive. Let me make sure we do everything we can do to not give the ball back to Mahomes here. I'll take a timeout at 3 seconds and kick the field goal. A lot of trust in Jake Elliott to do so. You get stopped on that play, you lose 3 points. This game came down to 3 points. I played that how I thought I should play that, and I'll look back at it, but I thought I played that exactly how I wanted to play that. But you go back and you look, and should I have done this? Should I have done that? That's exactly how I wanted to play it. That was why in that scenario. Because I thought it was going to be really hard to get a touchdown. Kind of similar thing happened in New Orleans last year. So you're always thinking, coming back to different things of, that's how it helps you make decisions too. Yes, there's an analytical part of it. There's an end to half part of it. There's a past experience part of it. There's your players part of it. There's a play part of it. And it's very similar to the one in New Orleans last year. A little bit less time on the clock, but we were a little bit closer in that 4th and 1 that we didn't get, and we didn't come out with any points there. I thought, being able to not give the ball back to the Chiefs offense and still getting 3 and having that trust in Jake, knowing his line, knowing where he felt comfortable. I knew he felt really comfortable there. Our operation was good all game. Obviously, we got the penalty that pulled us back a little bit. But, yeah, I played that how I wanted to play that. And I get it that there's always going to be a debate on how you should do it, but that's why I did it.
Two more, please.
I'm sorry. I think we talk a lot about winning our double positive, and that means for us winning the explosive play battle and winning our turnover battle. So we've been able to win that turnover battle. I think that we need to be better in the explosive play battle. There's no doubt about it. So we have some thoughts, and we'll watch the tape and go from there. But it's been efficient. The past game's been efficient. We just haven't hit the chunks. But what I would say, and we know we need to do that, right? That's going to open up everything. But what I would say is in a moment when we needed a chunk, we hit the chunk with Devontae, per Elliott's question earlier. So we need to be able to, again, we'll look at the tape and everything like that, but we haven't created a lot of explosive plays in the past 2 weeks, and we'll get better at that.
Nick, Jaylen Carter said that you spoke a lot of positivity into him this week. You could have taken a couple different tacks. Why'd you decide for that?
Yeah, I believe in Jaylen Carter. I've gotten to know Jaylen so much these past 3 years, and I believe in him. And we all, no matter how much money somebody makes, how much fame anybody has, everybody needs to know they're loved and appreciated. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have discipline or anything like that. Again, like I said, everything is kept in house right there. And sometimes it's, there's not a handbook on any of those things. I know this. Everybody, Larry Karras told me this right when I, started coaching. Everyone needs to know they're loved and appreciated. And you got to try to find ways to get better. You got to make sure everyone's disciplined on the football team. And yeah, I believe in him, and I believe in, I know he's got a great heart. And I know that he'll learn from his mistakes and continue to get better. I believe in him so much. He's an important part of this football team. And, yeah, it makes me feel good that he recognized that, and we needed him today.
Last one. What did you think about the game plan on defense? Obviously, Vic didn't blitz at all in the Super Bowl. And young defense these first 2 games, but it seemed a lot more aggressive with blitzing the trust factor.
Yeah, every game's not played the same way, right? The Chiefs played it a little bit different. We played it a little bit different, both sides of the football, right? Because you're going to go in and say, hey, we didn't blitz at all. We might have to a little bit today. And Vic just continues to show what an experienced defensive coordinator he is and what a phenomenal defensive coordinator that he is. And so every game plan's a little bit different, regardless if you're playing the same team that you played 2 games ago or not. Vic did a really good job against their quarterback now. I'm not saying anything everybody in the NFL doesn't already know. He's a really freaking good football player, and Kelsey, man, still really good, really good football player that he goes to in critical moments. They got a good offensive line. That was a tough matchup, and really proud of our defense to find a way to turn the ball over. Really proud of our defense to find ways to keep the ball in front of them for the most part, be on the same page for the most part. We got to clean some of those things up. But we tackled well, I think. I thought we took the ball away when we needed to. You always want more, obviously. I thought we beat blocks well. Coop had a block. They threw a little bubble pass out there, which they do a lot of, and Coop beats the block on a really good blocker with Smith-Schuster. He beats it and makes the play right after he made a really big tackle. So, it's good when you see your habits of what you talk about consistently and that you do at practice consistently show up in a big-time game, because at the end of the day, I think we're going to get enthralled by all the design of this play or that play and this defense or that defense. This game comes down. This game's simple sometimes, right? It comes down to who tackled better. It comes down to, and that's a good tackling team too. They do such a good job on their fundamentals. It's very obvious on their tape. It's very obvious on that when they have angled tackles on Saquon that they're able to at times, most of the time, get them down. Because they work on it too, but it's going to come down to tackling. It's going to come down to block destruction. It's going to come down to blocking. It's going to come down to who catches the ball better. It's going to come down to who takes care of the football better and who takes it away better.
All right, that's it.